Have you ever noticed how some people seem to command respect without raising their voice? They don't argue, they don't plead, they don't explain. They simply step back, and suddenly the entire atmosphere changes. The silence unsettles people. The absence becomes louder than words. Now imagine if you began to do the same. Imagine if you didn't rush to defend yourself every time someone provoked you. If you chose silence instead of anger, distance instead of desperate explanation, what would happen? This is where Carl Jung's insight comes alive. Jung believed that much of what irritates us in others actually reveals something hidden within ourselves. So when you withdraw, when you stop giving people the easy access they once had to your emotions, the truth is revealed, not about you, but about them. Who panics when you go silent? Who feels the need to provoke you just to pull you back into the game? That reaction unmasks their dependency on your energy. You see, most people are not reacting to you. They are reacting to the role you play for them. Every time you instantly respond, every time you force a yes when your heart screams no, you hand over a piece of yourself. And what remains at the end of the day? Exhaustion, frustration, a strange emptiness that no one else can see. Why does this happen? Because you've been taught to believe that being constantly available is a virtue, that your worth is measured by how quickly you reply, how often you help, how much of yourself you sacrifice. But Jung would remind us, this is not virtue, it is self-abandonment. The truth is simple but brutal. What is too abundant loses value. The more predictable and available you are, the easier it is for people to use you. They don't necessarily want you. They want what you provide: comfort, validation, distraction. And the moment you stop giving, many will vanish, proving they were never truly there for you. Jung called the social mask we wear the persona, the version of ourselves we present to be accepted and approved. It's this mask that keeps you saying, "I'm fine," when you're suffocating, that makes you explain yourself when you owe no one an explanation, that convinces you to always be present, even when you're falling apart. But the price of this mask is heavy. Your peace, your vitality, your authentic self. Jung also spoke of psychic energy, the inner fuel of the mind. Every thought, every emotion, every reaction consumes this energy. The question is, are you choosing where it flows, or are you letting the world drain it at will? Each time you get hooked into pointless arguments, each time you defend yourself against petty criticism, each time you keep alive relationships that feed on your energy but give nothing in return, you leak power. And the weaker you become, the easier it is for opportunistic people to manipulate you. This is why Jung insisted that true strength lies not in constant reaction, but in awareness. The ability to hold your energy within, to say no without guilt, to remain silent without feeling weak, to observe before responding. Because real power is not in reacting. It's in choosing how and when to act. But here's the uncomfortable truth. The moment you begin to conserve your energy, others will resist. They will accuse you of changing. They will label you distant, cold, arrogant. But it's not because you've done something wrong. It's because you've stopped being useful to their needs. Your silence forces them to face themselves, and many people cannot bear that confrontation. Jung warned, we do not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. When you withdraw, when you refuse to keep feeding the cycle, you expose the shadow in others. And that is why your absence provokes such strong reactions. It is not a weakness, it is power. But silence is not only a weapon, it is a medicine. At first, it feels uncomfortable, even frightening. You wonder if you're being selfish. You feel guilty for pulling back. But slowly, silence transforms. It begins to heal. It clears space. In solitude, you find yourself again. Not the mask, not the role, not the persona, but the self Jung described as the individuated self, whole, authentic, unshakable. And here is the paradox. The very people who once drained you will now say you are different. They will struggle to define you because they no longer control you. And in that moment, you realize something profound. You never lost them. They were never truly yours. This is why conscious unavailability is not cruelty. It is self-respect. It is the discipline of protecting your inner energy as something sacred, not to be wasted on those who do not value it. It is not about being cold. It is about being whole. So ask yourself, how many of your reactions are truly yours, and how many are simply programmed responses to someone else's manipulation? How many, yes, are really betrayals of your own soul? And most importantly, how much longer will you keep giving yourself away just to avoid discomfort? Carl Jung taught that individuation, the journey to becoming your true self, requires a period of isolation, a sacred withdrawal, not as an escape, but as a return to center. Because only in silence can you hear your own voice without the interference of others. Only in solitude can you discover the strength that was buried beneath years of pleasing, explaining, and proving. The world will call you selfish. Some will call you arrogant. Others will try to guilt you back into the role you once played. But remember, their reaction reveals more about them than about you. In the end, silence is not emptiness. It is presence distilled to its purest form. It is not absence, it is sovereignty. And once you embrace it, you are no longer a puppet pulled by the strings of others. You are whole. You are free. So I ask you, as Jung himself might, are you ready to endure the discomfort of being misunderstood so that you can finally experience the freedom of being yourself? Because the day you stop being available to everyone, you begin to belong to yourself. And that changes everything.